before we wrap up here, let's go through some winners and losers. I want to start with you. Who is winner number one?
Oregon.
Yeah, okay.
They've been the big winner. Again, woke up this morning number 14. I think they're up to number 8. That was before Lamar. I mean, I talked about all the offensive guys, Blair, and then you rattled off what they did on defense as well. I mean, they are going to be the cream of the crop in the Pac-12 with USC, UCLA exiting. This is a class that can contend for a college football playoff spot if all these guys pan out and they avoid a setback. So tip of the cap to Dan Lanning. I mean, like we talked about just before, you trade Dante Moore, right, and you traded back and you added a ton of depth and pieces.
Turned out all right.
Yeah, that's a great point that you bring up, because there's been some speculation that they are maneuvering their way to try to get into one of those big super conferences. Well, if you're Oregon, all you have to do is just elevate the Pac-12 by yourself, right? And they can recruit into California, they can recruit nationally, they're still in it for a number of other prospects, and I think that's what stands out to you about them being a winner. That Dan Lanning is not afraid to go in and battle against some of these heavyweights, and he's winning some of these battles.
Yeah, as a first-time head coach, exciting to see what he is already doing at Oregon. It's only going to get better from here. You certainly expect to see that. Another winner today, Andrew, who you got?
Alabama.
Of course.
10th time in the last 13 years they have the number one class. They get the Carver duo. Was it exciting for them? No, but they had to get those guys. I knew from the jump that those guys were headed there, so I think they're a winner.
Yeah, and I think we mentioned that we didn't want to talk about Bama anymore because we didn't talk about them enough, but you see him there. I mean, he's the GOAT for a reason. What he's able to do on the field, he moves all the chess pieces, but he's showing that off the field in recruiting, he's still able to make calls, make those moves, and really win some battles that maybe weren't going in Alabama's way early on in the cycle. But he said, hey, pump the brakes, be patient, and obviously Nick Saban has closed with a flurry.
Yeah, 6 5-stars. You are seeing that right. That is correct there. Total points, though, when the rankings go, though, we have 326.05. Again, the number to beat was last year Texas A&M at 333. So very close. But guys, still an absolutely epic class for Alabama. Okay, those are the two that I could pretty much guess that you would mention. So who you got as another winner today?
Well, they already flashed it on the screen, and that's probably producer Trey in the back right there. Texas, right? We just saw Akana announcing the most epic backdrop ever.
Oh, so jealous.
I know, I want to go to
Do you guys
Hawaii.
want to head there next?
Yeah,
after
I'm going
we're
for
done
the
with
Poly
show?
Bowl. I'm going with Blair.
Yeah, Texas is a winner, but also Akana is a winner considering that backdrop.
Yeah, I mean, just another big day for them. And when you look at that defensive class, again, transitioning eventually to the SEC, a lot of good pieces. And they might not be done. DeAndre Moore, wide receiver, committed to Louisville. Did he sign up? He was going to show up to his signing.
He did not show up to the signing day announcement at St. John Bosco, the ceremony. Committed to Louisville still, but there's been a lot of smoke with Texas. And obviously with Akana, I mean, I think the thing that heightens that win for Texas is that it translated into a direct loss for Oklahoma as well. So not only are you getting a top prospect, but you're taking one away from your rival. And these are the types of players that will make a difference for Steve Sarkisian once that program moves over to the SEC.
One more thing that makes Texas a winner, I mean, there was some smoke about Cedric Baxter in Florida State. Mike Norvell flew the helicopter into Edgewater High School. Edgewater's head coach went to Florida State. Cedric Baxter grew up cheering for the Seminoles, and he ends up finalizing things with Texas. That's a big deal. We talked about him replacing Bijan Robinson earlier in the show. So Texas a winner for multiple reasons.
And guys, let's not forget, they signed the #1 player in the class.
Oh,
that
yeah.
makes you a winner by default.
Oh yeah, Arch Manning. I remember that guy. I know we've talked so much about Oregon and the quarterback that they missed out on, and we talked so much about how a quarterback can really influence the rest of the class, and Arch Manning is a great example of that. You saw Tausili Akana, he said he hasn't talked to him yet because nobody knew until we had his commitment live on our air where he was headed, but just he was glowing. He was so excited to join a guy like that. I mean, going into the day, we assumed that Texas would be a winner as soon as that guy put pen to paper, but you're telling me there's a lot of other wins around Are there any wins that maybe we weren't expecting to see from Texas today that surprised you outside of Tassili Akana?
Well, I think DeAndre Moore. What happens there, right? I think he's a guy that can complement some of the other things they have on offense. When we audited the wide receivers, me and Cooper Petagna were like, man, we really, really like him. We want to get him higher in the rankings. Maybe he doesn't have the speed and anything, but I think he's a solid player. You plug him into that offense, and it'd be awesome. I mean, maybe if they got Kamorian Pimpton, who went to LSU, they were trying to fight for him. That would have been another, feather in the cap, but it's still a solid day for the Longhorns.
Yeah, DeAndre Moore did not send in his letter. That's a win in itself because it's giving Texas, it's buying them more time, and it's giving Arch Manning a bit more leeway there to be able to text him, call him, do whatever he needs to do, and maybe Tassili Akana will also get on the phone with DeAndre.
Oh yeah, I'm sure that they will be working hard as recruiters. We know the rest of Steve Sarkisian's class has been working very hard behind the scenes. Do you have more winners for us today?
I thought you were going to ask me for losers.
Are you ready? Oh, do we have to do it? Do you have a? Go ahead. We got to talk about it. This is the news.
Notre Dame, they lost 2 guys today.
Yeah.
Peyton Bowen to Oregon.
Yeah.
It seems like Notre Dame thought they had won that for a second time. Top 247 safety, top 100 prospect. We're going to see him at these All-Star games, see where he finishes in the rankings. He goes to Oregon, and they just Jaden Lamar, the running back. So, Marcus Freeman built his class back in the summer.
Yeah.
They did a great job, but this is signing day winners and losers. You lose two commitments, 2 blue chippers. Sorry, I got you down for an L.
Yeah, Peyton Bowen, I think unexpected, considering that they still felt like they were going to be able to hold on to him. It did seem like maybe Oklahoma was going to be the destination for him. He ends up at Oregon. I don't feel terrible about the Jaden Lamar because they already have a 5-star or the number 5th overall running back in the class. They're Jeremiah Love, so I don't feel entirely bad for Notre Dame fans because they're still getting a top 5 running back in the class. So it makes the Jaden Lamar loss a little bit easier to take, but certainly one of the losers on signing day.
All right, we can flip back to winners now because when I do my column, I go winner, winner, loser, winner, winner, loser. So that's
okay.
You got to give some variance, right? You can't be like all positive and then just sap all the negativity at the bottom.
Make us smile again. Who's another winner?
Georgia,
yeah.
They get Daniel Harris in the morning, Tracy corner, Fran Brown, the corners coach, has been on that kid since he was at Temple, right? That's a guy that he wanted to get. Penn State tried to make a move there. Daniel Harris ends up signing with the Bulldogs, a long guy. I mean, if that is the back end of your class, damn, you got a pretty good recruiting class. And then Damon Wilson picks Georgia over Ohio State. Rusty Manziel, Steve Wiltfong, myself, we all said we thought Georgia was going to be the pick, but the kid still has to put the hat on. He's still got to press the button on the phone and send in that LOI, and he did. So Georgia definitely a winner.
Yeah, Damon Wilson, the 5-star. There's still another big 5-star fish. We talked about Deuce Robinson earlier. He will not announce until February, and that obviously gives them some time to make a push for the number 1 player at that position. They signed 2 tight ends. They're both 4-stars. Deuce Robinson told us recently, Emily, on the recruiting show that he doesn't care who else is in a class. He understands the development that goes in at Georgia in that tight end room. They distribute the football. They're getting you ready for the next level, and so that's one program to monitor with Deuce Robinson down the stretch, considering also that he loves Georgia baseball.
So now that you've explained to me how this works and that we go winner, loser, winner, loser.
No. Winner, winner, loser, winner, winner, loser.
Okay. It's been a long day. I don't know if I can keep track with that, but you have a loser next, correct?
Oh, winner. Auburn. All right. Hugh Freeze and the Tigers. We went winner, winner, loser.
Okay.
Winner, winner, loser.
Just give us Auburn. What would the Tigers do today that you like?
They got a premium pass rusher that I don't think – we thought there was a chance they were going to get Keldrick Falk, but they got the job done, right? You heard some rumors, some talk of it happening. We thought maybe he'd stick with Florida State. No, he's headed to the Plains to play for Hugh Freeze. They also flipped Kayan Lee, who I call a lunch pail cornerback from there, right there in Atlanta. That's not that far of a drive. They get that job done. We talked about, we'll get to Ohio State here in a second, but that's a big win, and they've added some help via not only the transfer portal, but junior college offensive linemen. So I think Auburn definitely a winner. I mean, the Auburn faithful, they rally when they're needed, and they rallied for this recruiting class.
Yeah, and I don't want to kick a man while he's down, but I don't know if we see Brian Harsin close the way Hugh Freeze closed, right? And obviously the buyout makes everything a little nicer for Brian Harsin, but I do think that Hugh Freeze is giving us a sneak peek of what he's capable of and how he's going to be able to recruit now at Auburn.
All right. Just what's next, Andrew?
Loser. We're going loser.
Okay, good. That's what I thought, but I did not feel confident after the last one. So, who you got?
Oklahoma.
Yeah.
They wanted to flip Peyton Bowen. They wanted Cecilia Kana. I mean, you crystal ball, you knock on that percentage point right there, but not exactly the best of days for the Sooners.
Yeah, and then you see Texas on the winner's side of things as well. I think the thing that I take away from Oklahoma is that they're still going to have to prove themselves as a coaching staff. On the field, they didn't have the greatest season. You wonder whether or not recruits saw that and wondered, okay, am I going to a place that's headed in the right direction? I think Lincoln Riley, that loss was so monumental, and they had to kind of revamp everything. Brent Venables has proven he was able to do that at Clemson, but I think it's going to take some time. And I don't know if recruits really bought in as quickly as maybe Oklahoma fans wanted them to.
And don't get me wrong, there's still good pieces in Oklahoma's recruiting
Like
class.
that quarterback coming in.
Yeah, there's still good pieces in Notre Dame's recruiting class, but we're talking about actual winners today. And that's how I think we stack it coming out of a long show.
Yeah. Any more winners for us, or are we?
I mean, normally I cap it at 6, but
Okay.
I mean, some other programs. I mean, Florida State, they land Edwin Joseph, beat a kid from South Florida. Also get my guy from the Conch Republic, Chris Otto, offensive lineman from down there in Key West. They land him. They did lose Keldrick Falk. We'll see what happens with Conrad Hussey, top 247 safety, committed to Penn State. Miami's pushing for him. Florida State's pushing for him. It sounds like he might not sign today. So Thursday or Friday, we're going to figure out some news there. I think a good day for Florida State all around.
I like Washington, too. I think they're a winner. They got Caleb Presley to flip over from Oregon. It's always important to lock in the number 1 player in your own state. That was a big box on the checklist of Kalen DeBoer when he got to Seattle. And to get the best player in that class is obviously a huge win. So I would mark them down as a winner, but I don't know if we're allowed. Are we allowed to pick another winner?
Yeah, I mean, we can do it.
He'll allow it.
We'll allow it.
Now we know.
Okay, well, I've got, I want to go back to your previous winner, and that is Florida State, because we are hearing from Hakeem Williams about his decision. The 5-star wide receiver is locked in with the Seminoles.
Most of the calls I didn't answer, and some of them, I couldn't, even when I did tell them no, it was still a question. I don't know how I deal with it, but.
What made you so solid to Florida State?
I'm big on loyalty, that's for sure. So once I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it.
The question was posed, others made a push for you. Did you tape the call from Mario Cristobal? Was that call made to you?
Yeah, it definitely was. I answered all the calls, but I mean, it's been a tough process, and I just trusting my gut, trusting my heart, trusting the coaches, trusting the environment, the staff, the players, that they're going to get me where I got to go and push me.
All right, that comes to us from our partners at Knowles 24/7. Kind of hard to hear him a little bit, but I think he's locked in with Florida. It's hard to tell with the hat and the jersey. How big a win is that?
He did sign with Florida State. I think the nugget, I'm not sure, I couldn't hear, but I did see someone tweet about it. Coach Prime called Hakeem Williams.
Ooh.
And he's also called a lot of other high-profile guys around the country. And I said it on the late kick last night. We keep talking about a big surprise for Prime, and still waiting for it.
Still waiting.
Still waiting for that
They got
big
Shedeur
splash.
Sanders, though.
Yeah. But Florida State keeping Hakeem Williams in the boat. I mean, this guy is one of the bigger boomer bust prospects in the class. He is a freak athlete. He was announcing there at his middle school, William Dandy Middle School, where he was a star basketball player. So huge addition for the Seminoles and Mike Norvell.